Welcome on in for today's NBA pick video play for Friday, November 30th, 2018. In this one, talking about this matchup here between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Miami Heat. Going to give our lean on where we see the better value on the over-under. That total number sitting at 229.5 points, which is relatively high, but again, we're very used to seeing these types of total numbers when you have the New Orleans Pelicans involved. Now, taking a look at the road team, the Pelicans in their last outing, putting up some pretty good offensive numbers. They took down the Washington Wizards by a final of 125 to 124, and that was an important bounce-back win for the Pelicans. It got them back to 500 with that 11-11 overall record and ended their four-game losing streak with all of those defeats coming against Eastern Conference competition. And although some of those games were against some of the better teams over in the East, losing to Boston and Philadelphia, those losses against the Knicks and Wizards on the road weren't exactly things that the Pelicans wanted to do during this recent stretch against the Eastern Conference, especially when you look over at the Western Conference picture as a whole. Going to be very tough to make it into the postseason in the West, and whenever you go against the East, you really have to rack up a lot of those wins, especially in games that you're favored if you're going to be a serious contender to try to push your way into the Western Conference playoff picture. And the Pelicans, they had a big year last year as a franchise. They're hoping to carry that momentum over into this season. They've been a little bit hit or miss, but offensively, obviously a very dangerous team. They're second in the NBA in scoring compared to just 28th in total team defense. And if you just add up the average score for the Pelicans on a game-to-game basis, you get 235.5 points, which is 6 points higher than the total that we're seeing in this matchup. They're taking on the Miami Heat, who obviously don't have the same level of offensive output from a game-to-game basis in comparison to the Pelicans. But more recently, Miami has actually been playing in some higher scoring matchups. Their last outing, they lost to the Atlanta Hawks by just 2 points, where the total hit 228 points. And then one game prior to that, they lost at the Toronto Raptors, really difficult matchup there for the Heat. But the total in that one also getting pretty high at 240 points. And this has been a middle-of-the-pack type squad in terms of their overall statistics. They're averaging about 109 points per game, giving up about 110. So if you take what the Heat are averaging on a game-to-game basis, you get closer to about a 219-point situation, which is a bit lower than this number. But based on what we've been seeing from the Heat and some of their recent matchups where we've been seeing them play with a little bit more tempo, and then also going against one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA today, we see this as having the makings of being a higher scoring competitive matchup. And as a result, we're going to go ahead and side with the over 229.5 points as the better value bet. If you agree, give the video a thumbs up. Disagree, give it a thumbs down. Check out all of our picks, including our daily free play, over at stumpthespread.com, linked down in the video description. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you guys back here for future videos.